Wow. Okay. So we are here. Evie, very nice to meet you. My name's Mahesh.
Jeff Chasen, hello again.
You know me, Christian Smith.
And I'm Jessica Kelly.
Welcome back to Guiding Tides. Today we have a special guest coming in live. We're breaking down international barriers today.
By having our first guest that's from Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you here.
Our first digital guest as well.
Our first digital guest.
We have Eevi, who is coming from Montenegro. Eevi, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Yes, of course, and thank you so much for this opportunity to participate because I'm sure that we will have super valuable episode today. About me, for people who don't know me, I'm an empowerment and mindset coach, and these past couple of years I've been helping people to build more freedom-based lifestyle from inside out, starting from confidence, self-perception, self-image, and mental health themes have been super, super close to my heart my whole life, as I would say, and of course they're huge part of my work as well because I just eventually want people to live their ideal life, like really break free from all of that, like depression, anxiety, and actually see that, wow, life can actually feel like this. Because now I'm here in Montenegro, which turned out to be my home. I used to live this kind of two lives, and it was part of my brand also to show people that everything is possible if you just put your mind into that. And yeah, so really free life, coaching, helping people, mentoring people to achieve the same and build online success. Also, that personal transformation is my key, and that's why I appreciate this opportunity to get some or share some insights related to, well, human mind, because eventually it can be your biggest asset or biggest enemy.
I got to tell you, the first thing that comes to mind when I see you is that you're so well spoken and articulate and focused on your mission statement of wanting to address how to help other people struggling with their issues, right? But the obvious thing that I'm seeing is how young you are. And I'm wondering, how did you stumble across this mission statement that you're so passionately pursuing in your life? What could you tell me a little bit about what led you to decide, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I want to make a career out of it, but I'm also going to passionately pursue the idea of helping people. How did you come to this stage?
Well, thank you for asking. It's a hell of a journey, as I would say, as everyone has a journey. Let's say I've been looking for like something, I don't know, related to psychology because I've studied psychology like 11 years, and I didn't necessarily want to be a psychologist because I wanted to, I don't know, create something impactful, meaningful, like really help people with more, I don't know, positive things because, well, for a person who has suffered back in the day depression, more or less like my whole life, as I would say, I really felt like, of course, it would be super important approach work-wise as well, but eventually I wanted to have something more empowering, especially now after my own transformation and literally like breaking free from those chains of my own mind and everything. So when I first got introduced to coaching, it was actually here in Montenegro, and I feel like everything is meant to be eventually, more or less. And that's the long story part, but how I got here in Montenegro in the first place. But I just felt like there's something for me, and I met this girl who introduced that life coaching. Yeah, I was just like, this is it. Like someone offering that, like a silver platter. Like this is everything you have been looking for, and it just clicked, and it hasn't changed these past 2 years because I don't know, this situation you guys probably know, like when you know, like it just comes into your face like this and you're just like,
I always say once you hear the truth, you can't unhear it.
yeah, absolutely. So definitely same category related to these kind of things, and I think that's why I keep being so passionate about it, because of that deep connection to myself, and I know how remarkable it is. Everything what I've experienced outside of coaching and is my own transformation and everything, it set me free. It really made me live a life that I can pure-heartedly say that I wouldn't change a thing, and I absolutely love it. And that's the legacy I want to give and pass forward to other people as well. And that's why I think it's easy to articulate, you know.
Curious to ask, growing up, some of the challenges you must have faced being depressed and struggling with anxiety. Assuming you avoided it, how did you avoid the pitfalls of substance use and drugs and alcohol, to cope? Is that something you were able to avoid?
Yes, more or less, because my conclusion nowadays, especially after this huge amounts of inner work, what I've been doing myself earlier, back in the day, I truly didn't understand what I was experiencing, because eventually depression, for me, it was based on so many things that I couldn't understand related to my own brain and how my own unique brain works and where all of this misery is coming from eventually. So that's also something that I tell everyone, like literally, first thing, figure it out why, like where all of this is coming from, because I didn't stop for a single second to actually think about it. I was just feeling bad and I was anxious all the time, worrying about future, worrying about past, some mistakes I made, 5 years ago. And well, when it comes to substances and other things, I feel like because I was so, I don't know, let's say raised this way, like against drugs. And, literally my mom told me, like, yeah, you try it once and then you're hooked and then you jump from the balcony kind of style. So basically, I feel like it, it has saved me from that. But when it comes to alcohol itself, like this king alcohol, I feel like that it was a hell of an issue earlier because I used to be such a party girl also. Then, drinking too much, my things up all over again, and then fixing, what happened. And then I did it again and again. And I felt like at that time that I wasn't escaping that misery and feeling bad to alcohol anyhow. But every time when I was drinking, it was like really hard for me to tell where goes the line between like drinking too much or then just having a great time, because every time I went out I went for having great time, so it wasn't like, oh, I want to shut down my emotions.
It just gave you a little bit of a break.
Yes, that's how I would say. And that's also related to this understanding that I have nowadays, for example, related to ADHD characteristics and other things there. So yeah, it gave me a break. Like my mind was silent for once and I felt invincible. I felt like everything's eventually good because I didn't care anymore that much, because I used to like overcare, worrying kind of way about things. So of course, uh, then you just drink, and then it's already too late. So yeah, I don't know how to, differentiate that, if it was an issue and if I avoided that necessarily. But at least now.
The reason I asked, yeah, that was because I was not able to avoid it, and it's a lot of my career now is focusing on trying to help people with what I struggled with specifically. My parents, I've never seen either of them drink a day in my life. I'm 41. They, when I was growing up, they told me that the reason that they didn't drink is the same reason I shouldn't drink, and it's because if I drink, I'll uncontrollably myself, and it's not true. But my parents tricked me of that, and remember being a young teenager, being afraid of alcohol.
My parents were the same way, though. They always were like, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do anything. And I was just like, yeah, okay. We'll trial and error here. We'll see how it goes.
My parents made me a professional. Seriously. But so, Eevi, I have a question for you. We were kind of talking about this in the beginning before and kind of while we were setting up. So obviously there's stigmas of the world, stigmas I feel as though in different, countries, states, towns, it breaks down to a molecular level. When you started struggling before you had this breakthrough, what did the stigma kind of look like for you? Like, were you fearful of judgment, or how is, I guess, mental health viewed where you're from or where you were at that time?
To add to that, like here, it's even still not really a welcomed or comfortable conversation, especially at the public level. People are even more comfortable here talking about, heroin addiction or crack cocaine addiction than they are talking about general depression and anxiety.
So how did that look for you, Eevi?
I agree related to that it's still more or less like taboo. More and more like they are making progress in Finland related to these topics. But when it comes to, I don't know, that stigma that you are going to get from that, it was based on really this fear of judgment, fear of doing constantly something wrong, and this whole perception that I carried at that time upon myself, and that I am just some kind of wrong kind of person. And because it's so strongly connected to your identity, right? So it seems quite impossible to change. And yeah, so I felt super like ongoing. It was super easy to talk about certain topics, but really those thoughts like and how much that worrying I was going through like every day, and those dark thoughts, and especially literally my rock bottom year, like everything crashed. I finally crashed with things because eventually if you go with the full speed, I don't know, 100 miles per hour, there will be a wall at some point. I've heard, and we spoke about this earlier last year, I think, related to, that cultural approach to mental health and mental health teams and talking about it and everything. So I'm happy to say that since that conversation, I see the direction has changed a little bit in Finland. It's still not good, but feel free to share, for example, from state's perspective, what's the situation now?
Sure. So first, I just kind of want to expand a little bit more on what you were saying there. So once you learned that your mental health, any form of diagnosis or any struggle you were going through, once you learned that that did not define who you were, what did it kind of look like when you had the aha moment of, for lack of a better term, what people think, right? Like when you started to feel free in the skin you were in with the struggles and issues that you had. How did that kind of come about?
I think these biggest realizations and what I really needed to embrace as a perfectionist person and everything, to understand and acknowledge that no one's perfect and every one of us, we make mistakes, and eventually based on your own behavior, and if there is some kind of pattern going on that people are usually really unaware of these patterns, like I had, going out, things up, then feeling miserable, doing it again, like never stopping to think about it. So really sitting myself down and understanding like, okay, that's where all of that is coming from, but at the same time also that you just can't control other people's behavior or approach or opinion about you, no matter what you do, no matter how much people pleasing you put in the game. It doesn't change the situation, because if someone is going to have opinions about you, they will have. And those are kind of those first bits to start setting me free of all of this, because that's just how it is. And I know it sounds super, super simple, but going back to basics, gratitude, like compassion, all those emotions that everyone should experience towards themselves.
Do you practice gratitude every day?
Every single day. And it has literally, I would say, saved my life. And it actually did, because as mentioned, that rock bottom year, it eventually went that bad. So I needed to reach out to crisis help and this kind of crisis therapist that I had at that time. And I'm super grateful that I had, because he told me that, look, like every morning, 10 things, at least 10 things, what you're grateful for today. Whether it's like you have roof on top of your head, or you are able to walk, like back to the really, really simple things. You have a lovely family, and it starts to accumulate. And trust me, guys, like over time, it starts to accumulate fast. And that's non-negotiable for me. Like to start every morning with those things, what you are grateful for. And also important when it comes to that self-perception, misery, whatever, because eventually you are your, well, main character of your story, and you should focus on you. If there's some issues in your life, like focus on you. So put into that list something good about you. Like I dare the listeners. It's insanely powerful and so underrated. I can't even describe to that.
The practice of gratitude is so important. especially when you are in a really bad place. Just looking at what's good in front of you and knowing that there are good things in your life versus all the bad things that are happening. If you can focus on that, it really does change your mindset. So, like, Evie, I think that's great.
It really does change. And well, small streams make big rivers, as I would say. I like to use this kind of metaphors a lot and everything, but I think it describes, when you are looking at depression, for example, when you're looking at anxiety as this big, huge something that you should fix or get rid of or something like that. But eventually, like, it starts from small, like baby steps every single day towards that direction that you would be free from that. And I think the most important thing is to really, yes, embrace what you already have, what good you have already in your life, be grateful for it. But at the same time, give it a chance and possibility that actually life could feel different, like really different. And it is possible to get out of there 100%.
Changing your perspective is changing your mind. And I completely resonate with what you're saying. I think we all do.
100%.
You've heard me say attitude is everything.
Attitude is everything. And I was just saying this to Jeff yesterday, and I've taken that softer approach with things just to kind of share on that because that hit me, Evie. Personally, I struggle with, I have depression, I have suicidal ideation, PTSD, OCD. Missing any letters, Mahesh? We good?
I've got the missing ones.
We're a whole together collectively. But for me, kind of slam dunked on top of it, Evie, I have a vestibular disorder. So I suffer from significant dizziness. And that, you could probably imagine, feeds into that cycle of everything, right? The anxiety and the fears and whatnot. But I've kind of developed this new, maybe we'll call it a mantra, I guess, or just way of living. I said it to Jeff yesterday. On the days when I wake up and I really just don't want to get out of bed, and it sucks. It's easy, especially when it's cold here in New England, to jump back in bed, dogs cuddle up, great. I kind of developed this mindset of on days when I don't want to do it, that's when the dog gets fed, the inner dog, the inner warrior, whatever you want to call it within me. Because the days when I wake up and my hair looks perfect and I'm feeling good, I'm motivated, of course it's easy to get through the day and succeed in whatever you're doing. But to shift that mindset and say, okay, today sucks, but my feet hurt, my legs hurt, but they work,
Yep.
right? I'm going to feed this dog in me and I'm gonna do something with the day. That's growth, in my opinion. That's just what I've felt, and that's what I want to offer to the audience and to bring to the conversation there, shifting that mindset. And the reason I say that, Evie, is because it's not, gender specific. It's not the soft approach of, I'm going to meditate and be kind to myself and give myself grace. No, you can also be aggressive about it. And that's kind of where I'm leaning into now at this point. So just to kind of keep that relevant to both sides of the audience here of shifting your mindset. What'd you say, Jeff? Attitude is everything?
Attitude is everything. Your attitude influences what your hands do. Your hands do influence what your reality is.
I also feel like when you're in like a negative state of mind, like everything else is just negative. Your day goes to every single time.
Every event is a problem.
It is.
It's a law of
And
attraction.
I feel like when you are in a positive mindset with a little bit of gratitude, you can really change the trajectory of your day and of your week and of your months.
Right.
Yep.
You have to decide. So during the day, I work at a high school and I work with teenagers that are between the ages of 13 to 18. But a common theme that I've been trying to push through with all of my students, regardless of their issues, is the concept of the self-fulfilling prophecy. And I think that we could all relate to the fact that as we're growing up, it's kind of like we have this script and we have a role to fulfill in that script. I want to get good grades, so I go to a good college, so I get a good job, and I want to get that house, the white picket fence, and the golden retriever. I have this image in my head. I have a script. I have this vision of what I want to fulfill. And if a roadblock comes in the way and throws me off, oh my God, that's not supposed to happen to me. I'm not supposed to have a substance abuse issue. I'm not supposed to have a failed marriage. I'm not supposed to be suffering in the corner, having a panic attack. That's not supposed to be me. That wasn't in the script. Who the hell put that in the script? The ability to say, okay, life has thrown a curveball at me. How am I going to deal with it? Because I have to deal with it. If I'm not going to deal with it, I'm just going to continue to suffer in silence. Or, make a mess of my life and affect other people I love around me and have them suffer as well. So we have to get to a point where we decide attitude is everything. But what does that mean? We have to put an action into play, right? And we've talked about this, I think, pretty much every episode of like, now what? What are you going to do now? Okay, fine. You're crying, you're suffering. Some people, are living in their mother's basements because they don't have a place to live. They're fearing going outside of their house because life is so bad. Okay, that's where you are. Now what? What is the next step you're going to take? Because you have to decide on your own. You can have all the therapists in the world and all the doctors in the world telling you, hey, you know what? You should try this. Hey, you know what? You should try yoga. Hey, you know what? You should try being grateful for the fact that you're still alive and you're sucking in a breath. But if you don't buy into it and you just maintain that negativity, that's the self-fulfilling prophecy
Mhm.
Yeah.
of like, you know what? Yeah, your life is going to suck.
Keep feeding yourself and you're going to feel like
Yeah, how's that taste?
Yep.
So you got to get up and do something about it. So I'm curious, when did you hit that point in your life when you decided
Take control.
enough of this crap?
enough is enough.
What am I going to do?
Sick
Like,
and,
what
sick
was
and
that
tired
point?
of being
Yeah.
sick and tired.
Being sick and tired, being sick and tired. Like, what was your point? I'm just curious.
Yes, of course. First of all, I absolutely love this because I keep describing it in a way, the attitude when it comes to, many kinds of things, but, self-responsibility, like taking responsibility of your own life and own your own life in that sense, because like that kind of, victim mindset, what you described there, like, oh, this wasn't in the script, like, yeah, you know what, life happens. And it's sad truth, but, like eventually that shift alone changes so much, for you. Of course, we are emotional human beings. We are able, then it's good, to experience those emotions when something happens and everything. But next step, like, which comes automatically by now, because I have reprogrammed my whole brain system, so it starts to happen automatically that, okay, what am I going to do about it? And that's so powerful. And when it comes to that final moment, because yeah, I agree what you said there, like usually people have that final drop of something, like, this is enough. And I found myself from those kind of situations quite often, like these past couple of years, that there's this one last drop that you're just like, that I really really don't, want this in my life, or like something needs to change. So the first one was absolutely when I really, crash with things. Like, I can't even tell you, like, everything at once, because that's usually how it happens, right? All at once, like burnouts, friend trauma, like breakup, everything, and million other things. Yeah, I feel like that was then when I finally, like, just reached the point, like, okay, because also related to those suicidal thoughts and everything mentioned in this conversation, it really went that bad that I was just somewhere, like, in complete darkness with myself and with my things. And when you reach that point that, okay, something really needs to change, like either it's that I'm going to die for sure, or then something needs to change, because I can't continue my life like this. Like, this is not working for me. This is not working people near me. So yeah, then was that point when I finally, reached out to that crisis therapist. Although I've gone to psychology earlier back in the day, but I feel like I wasn't receptive of that way of thinking, more growth mindset in that sense before that. Like, now it's, life or death situation, basically, that I need to have something. And that's why I listened finally when it comes to that gratitude, when it comes to basic things, because earlier people have dropped at me like, yeah, Eevi, have you tried this kind of, mental work, like some kind of, exercises or something? And I'm like, yeah, thank you. That's going to fix me. But when you really are in that kind of receptive stage, usually when you're fed up completely with something, then you are more open to actually that transformation after.
I can 100% relate with you, because I feel as though when I went through my mental breakdown, it took me to get to ground zero to actually be receptive of the help and, have my brain want to start to work through certain things and start to learn different mechanisms to cope and to deal with what I was dealing with. So, and I bet you can relate to that. Jeff, you can relate
God,
to
yeah.
that.
Oh,
Mahesh, you
absolutely.
can relate
Yeah,
to that.
definitely.
But yeah, that's amazing.
The mindset I try to have is, and I'm very imperfect at this, a problem is an opportunity. If I can change my perception around it and try and figure out what I can improve going forward to avoid a situation like this again or a problem like this again, there's always an opportunity there.
Yeah, you just have to take the balls by the reins, right? Or the horns by the reins. I don't know.
The bull by the horn.
Bull by the horns. There you go.
Yep.
You know me. I don't know.
I think there's a sense of maturity that needs to happen, though. And this isn't an age thing, but I think there's this epiphany that people have to hit. Like you said, if I keep going this way, I'm going to die. It's that realization that you have to come to in your own terms of what I'm doing isn't working. And I think that at our younger stages of our lives, we are in a role, and this breaks through all socioeconomic barriers or races or, upbringings, cultures, whatever. We want to please. We want to please our parents. We want to please our peers. We want to be accepted. And we value so much as to how we represent ourselves and how we're seen. And there comes a point, I think we've all hit in our lives of that's not as important because I can't keep up that facade anymore. I can't keep up that, I can't match the script, because I've got issues I have to deal with and stop ignoring or stop disguising. And the effort it takes to disguise my pain or disguise my anxiety, depression, I just don't have it in me anymore. I think when people hit that point, that's when they realize I got to do something about it, So your ground zero is going to be different than my ground zero. We talk about that all the time, about our perception, about our realities.
But it doesn't matter what type of ground zero that you're on.
Nobody's had it worse than you.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody's is just as bad as the next person.
And then it gets to, okay, so how am I going to seek help? And how am I going to actually listen to advice being given to me and humble myself?
It gets to the point where you want to want more.
Shifting that mindset to, this may be a problem on the surface, but this might be the turning point I need to start working on myself.
Hold on though. What if you hate yourself?
Let me take it on that one then, because I had hit that point. So I had absolutely crashed out. So Eevi, I come from my background. I build and repair elevators here in the States. And look, I mean, it's a great union I'm part of. It's very, as any other blue collar, it's you're a certain demographic. You're stoic, you're strong. It's just, a masculine situation. And everybody I was surrounded by, I couldn't show that I was starting to absolutely diminish and crash down lower and lower and lower. So
You didn't have room for that. There was no.
fuck no. So I had to put on so many different hats.
Literally put the hard hat on.
Right, and I had to put the hard hat on. I had to be all these different versions. It was being exhausting. Some people would see the true me shine through, and it was always a candid, more splendid conversation when they accepted that version. But I always didn't want to give it. So I learned to hate myself because of my actions, my thoughts, and just I felt like I was being fake, right? Because I couldn't authentically be me.
You. Yeah.
So when I started to really go downhill, and I've talked about in the past, I'm very transparent about it. I had suicide letters written to my children for my wife to find one day because I needed them to know it wasn't their fault. And the things that I've kind of had in my head growing up, I didn't want them to take any blame for anything. And that's so up thinking about it now. I'm
well,
happy.
You've experienced it firsthand.
Right.
So you didn't want to leave your kids in the dust.
Exactly. Thank you. So, that's how low it got for me. But I hated me entirely. I wanted to destroy myself. But I had one thing to hold on to, and that was my family. That was my wife, my 2 daughters, who you just seen running around here, Eevi. I held on to something. So that one thing, whether, you can't do it for yourself, which that sucks if you get that low. But if you have a loved one, a hobby, a goal, a dream, a vision, something, right? Something to hold on to just to get you elevated enough off that ground zero. And then you start to build up once you have a shred of love or hope for yourself. So I'm happy you asked that question because I was there. Like, I had learned a term when we were in the program that Jess and I were in together. It was called punitive. I was Mr. Punitive. There was no beating me, right? Like,
and then I was Mrs. punitive.
That's why we became such good friends so quickly, because it was like, I mean,
How can we hate each other so much?
like if you look through our
hate ourselves so much, I should say.
like look through Jess and I's text thread, it's like one of us will be beating up on ourselves and the other one's like, no, like that's not true, don't do that.
And then it swings the
It
other
It
way.
swings the other way, like
yeah.
literally from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. It's kind of comical. But yes, having something to hold on to. If you can't love yourself, find something around you. That's what worked to me. I'm happy you said that. Eevi, I want to shift back to you for a second because we're definitely talking a lot and you are our person we are interviewing today.
Our esteemed guest.
Our esteemed guest. Thank you, Jeff. So I want to ask you, what is next for you, Eevi? So you got up from ground zero. You built up. I see the videos. I love it. All our followers, please, we'll drop a link. Follow Eevi.
Yeah, thank you for the work you do too. I don't know how that hasn't been said yet all this time. Like, thank you for the content you create and the work you do.
So motivational. It's so light and airy. It makes me happy when I scroll by. Happy to call you a friend now, Eevi. So, but what's next for you in your journey with everything?
So it completely fulfills my heart by doing so, to being able to be that kind of person to people in general, like also there on social media, alongside of coaching, my own business, everything. But yeah, it really, I don't know, it's like my purpose and everything. And when it comes to, okay, what's next? Like eventually you will never know, right? Let's say I'm making this even a bigger thing. And since I launched last year my own group coaching program, the Magnetic Method, which is exactly for this, like starting from inside, because it all starts with you. And I don't say that just for fun, because it truly does, as we see here alongside of this conversation, that you are the one who is going to change that script if you want that script to be changed. And you can influence in so many things that you could possibly, you couldn't probably even imagine that how much power you are holding your hands every day, all the time, to change that direction and change that script. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because I'm going to, relaunch it again a little bit, a bit of different structure, different kind of support and everything. So I'm excited for that. And also, let's see what this year's, year of the fire horse soon starting and everything. what a year related. I don't know about you guys, but this snake year thing. And listeners, if you don't know, like this snake year, like literally everything is crumbling, everything is going wrong, and snake recreating its skin, and then you are ready for this fire horse here. But anyway, yeah, it literally felt like that last year, to be honest.
You're preaching to the choir on that one. I love to hear about the snake year and the horse.
I think this year is going to be a big, monumental year for a lot of people.
Why?
Why? Because I feel like it's like she said, the snake. We're shedding
Yes.
all of the negativity. We're shedding everything that doesn't belong to us, and we're coming into our own. I have a lot of hopes and dreams for this year.
I thought it was because of all the snake bites in you,
No,
from the snakes biting you. No?
no,
No?
no, no, no,
Must
no,
just
no.
be me.
No, I feel like this year is a big year for a lot of people that need to shed a lot of things.
Did you get enough sleep last night?
Sleep?
Sleep, what's that?
Sleep is the cousin of death.
Here we go.
I got to do.
I don't know. I feel like this year is going to be monumental for a lot of people. Eevi, like you just said about it being the snake year, I feel like this is the year for people to take reins of what's been going on in their lives and make the change and set themselves up for success.
Make
Even
it
if
happen.
it's a small little step.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have a feeling that this is going to be a good year for a lot of people.
Are you a big believer in New Year's resolutions?
No,
Fuck no.
Absolutely not. Not
No,
since I was
okay.
like 12, Mahesh.
no.
Come on.
I have
No, I'm-
set them.
Yeah.
I never meet them.
Yeah, I hate them. But what I'm hearing you say, this year is start your new beginning. And I try to live my life with every moment I can make a decision to do better. Every moment I can.
You can hit the reset button at any point in your life, any point in your day.
365 days is not a year.
Yeah.
It's from whenever you start it.
Yeah.
So it could be at any time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So setting resolutions are stupid.
Yes, and you don't need New Year resolutions to do that. Like, really, I don't believe in them either. And eventually, yes, it's hard. Maybe you have to hit that rock bottom, but necessarily you don't have to come up with this realization, then actually when I just do it, start changing it. It doesn't change overnight. You don't get rid of all of your problems overnight, and you will have problems also in the future.
But you'll just know how to handle them a little bit better.
Exactly, because and that's the whole intention of that snake year, by the way. Build strength, get rid of everything what doesn't align, what doesn't work for you, like in your life at the moment. And yeah, I feel like it has been really a transformational year. This one also, not just that original like glow up transformation with mental health things, but at the same time also learning new and still going it through. And by the way, it just came to my mind related to that earlier topic about that perspective to everything. And if you see problems as opportunities or issues as opportunities, obstacles, setbacks, because yeah, no matter what, if you just pay attention, there will be something like every time something that you get out of those things, whether it's something you're learning something or whatever. So change is not a bad thing. So it's 100% good thing. And if you're just willing to see it that way, that helps you actually change.
Change is best when simplified. I've always had this mindset with it, through big successes, through minor gains. And I've fought even with my own wife about this one because, people want to lose weight or they want to quit smoking, quit drinking. They want to, whatever it is. New Year's resolutions, I don't care. This is applicable across everybody and everything from where I sit. I quit smoking when I was 19 or 20, and I'd started when I was 14, so I had a heavy 2-pack a day Newport addiction. One day I was driving to work. I did not like how I felt in my chest. It was triggering health anxiety. I'm going to have a heart attack or my lungs, whatever, just stupid shit. And I took that pack of cigarettes, I threw it out the window, and I did not smoke again.
That's amazing.
I mean, for anyone watching that knows me, I did pick it up around the time of my wedding because I went out golfing and stuff. I fell back into it, but I dropped it again.
Yeah.
I didn't say, okay, on Monday,
Yeah.
I'm going to quit. No, that. Start now, shift the mindset, and just do it. Simplify it. Don't make it a whole thing.
And you can't make somebody make you do it either. You have to be 100% committed
Accountable.
to being ready and being accountable for yourself.
Big thing for me was start now too. Forget start tomorrow, forget next week. Like start today. Start now, even if it's something little. And then you'll be started. You can create momentum from there.
And most of the cases that tomorrow actually never comes. And that's also related to good things as well. Like how I ended up to Montenegro and everything, because I just did it instead of wondering about it and stuff.
Did you just say because tomorrow may never come?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that, right? Let's say, I'm like, I want to get in the best shape of my life and I die tomorrow, knock on wood. And you guys stand at my funeral and say, he was going to get in the best shape of his life
Tomorrow.
died. You know what I mean? I would be more happy to hear that, he was in the process of getting his together.
Yeah.
He was in the process of building a business, doing this, that. He was going to do it, but the first of the year, he didn't make it. So, right, Eevi, tomorrow's not promised. It might not come. So start today. This is why I was super excited to have you on, Eevi, because it's more of a motivational episode. When we started out season 1, I think we were just getting our feet wet with everything, kind of learning the process of all this.
We know we wanted to talk and have a conversation, but we didn't quite know about what yet.
100%. We were just figuring things out, and we covered basic topics of what everybody probably already knew, and we expanded a little bit more. But to have all these guests we've had on thus far and, the ones to come, this is where, the meat and potatoes are really coming to the surface here. So thank you. I'm so stoked about this. And I think that, it's going to be a lot of positive feedback here. And honestly, Eevi, one day I hope either we come to you or you come to the States. I'd love to meet you in person.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Field trip.
Field trip.
Let's do it.
We'll be there
We're
in
coming to
16
Montenegro.
hours.
How old were you when you moved to Montenegro?
Because I had this 2 lives thing. It's hard to define, but it was first time 2023. It was actually straight after that, literal rock bottom situation, because I don't know, it kind of drove me to do that, eventually. So yes, it's all about perspective, because those dark times, those fuck ups, many kinds of things, they have been eventually the best thing ever in my life, because they have made me move to actually start now, not tomorrow. So yeah, I was, oh my God, how old I was? 23.
You're a baby.
I was 25. Yeah, 25 I was. Yes. Now I'm 27.
Well, you're living proof of what change can do.
I wish I knew my own age. All this information and I don't know how old I am.
That's not a bad thing. I try to tell myself all the time.
So, Eevi, if you were to leave this episode today, what's one thing that you want people to know and to hear coming from where you've been in your life and where you are now?
And then I have a follow-up to that as well.
I'm shocked.
But her first.
Okay. I hear a lot, that actually, by the way, related to that age thing. Many people, I don't know, they evaluate my age really differently. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what one thing? Well, you tell me one thing about this conversation. But well, I think it's just absolute core, and that's that compassionate approach towards yourself. What I mentioned, that you are not like completely unfixable or something. There is nothing, that you need to necessarily fix, but really start that change and start that before it goes to that bad situation, because that's also, yes, good learning experience many ways. I still think that there are some unnecessary things that have happened to me in the past that, I don't know, maybe didn't need to happen, but it has been part of the journey. And I want you guys who are listening to this, remember that that darkness, that misery, that self-hate, like described here, all of that can change, and you can change, and you can actually see that life has so much more to give you than just that. And first step to all of that is actually give it a chance. Also mentally, like physically doing the thing, taking the step, not starting tomorrow, but starting now. But yeah, believing that it is possible. That's what I'm saying, I guess.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. So my follow-up is, in the work that you do, what is like your sweet spot client? Who do you like to work with the most? When they reach out to you, they say a few things, you light up inside because you know you're going to be able to shine some light into them. Tell me about, that dynamic of your work and who you maybe feel you do the best work with, or what makes you come alive the most in your work.
Well, of course, I'm nowadays also inspired of these practical things and how to actually, create that freedom and everything. But it's 100% of that inner experience and empowerment and confidence, because I have built mine from zero back in the day. So I really like to work with clients. Like, of course, I love to work with people who resonate with me, because usually, well, I don't work with people who I don't resonate with either. So mutual connection, but at the same time, witnessing that week by week, transformation, when people start to get more excited about their stuff and little things, that I know how much those things matter to them. For example, one of my clients came to me like, oh my God, like this feeling, like I told him no, like I told no, because, these kind of people pleasing tendencies and setting boundaries and actually being that main character of your own life, because eventually it's not selfish. Like, you are the most important person eventually of your own life. And it doesn't mean that you can't have like other important people near you. Of course, I have lovely friends all around the world. But those kind of people who are actually like dedicated, but at the same time, like get so excited of that journey and excited of that transformation where they are going. So yeah, that's probably the biggest reward also what I get from my work, because it's like this energy thing and really meaningful.
It must be so meaningful and so energetic at the same time,
I actually said that in our first episode, and I'm sure we can run that clip back, that, you focus on other people so much, that people-pleasing aspect, you forget that you're the main character of your own story. I love that you just said that. That's very true, and keep preaching that to people, because I feel like we do live in a world that, it's so easy to become a people pleaser.
It really is.
It's a great way to avoid your issues when you want to be the people pleaser. When you want to fix everybody else's problems, you don't have time for your own. So that's an escape route that defense mechanism that's very common, you know, in most people.
I'd say if you're healthy though, it's fine. But when your cup
There's that
runs out, yeah,
Yeah, there's that line, right?
you become a wounded healer at that point.
We talked about this before, like that quickly turns into that martyr syndrome too, you know, of like, my life is dedicated to my son. One day he's gonna be a good boy. Oh, you don't know, you don't understand the pain I go through, but I'm
Yep.
here for him. Oh my God, enough of that. You know?
Yep.
All you're doing is enabling behavior
Oh, sure, yeah.
and then talking about woe is you,
Mhm.
making him dinner every night.
Because you took a wrong turn parenting or
Somebody, a counselor, taught me that fill your cup, let it overflow. When it's overflowing, let people drink from that cup.
Yeah.
Once it is no longer overflowing, cut it off. Done, right there. Because for me, I would fill my cup, and the second it was full, I'd be like, you, and you. You said you needed some, right? Then I would drain out and be like, what did
Right.
I
Yeah.
do? So only
Depleted.
when you have a surplus of something to give, that's
I'll
when
give
you
my
give to
last
people.
sip to someone.
I know you will.
You too.
Get that coffee?
Yeah.
So, Eevi, unless, these three have anything else to add, I, again, want to greatly thank you for coming on the #1 rated mental health podcast in Massachusetts. Do you have anything else that you would like to leave us with? Any takeaways for the audience?
Yeah, related to that, fill your own cup first thing. Yes, they don't say in vain that, on airplane example, oxygen mask first on yourself, then help others. And that's a so good guideline to follow, like in so many ways. And yeah, I don't know about listeners, but yes, come to Montenegro, guys. Listeners, come to Montenegro. Like, this is so damn pretty place.
All right. Give us 2 weeks. We'll be there in 2 weeks.
Perfect. I will get things organized.
Yeah, Eevi, I'm definitely interested in further collaboration with you. I love your mission. I think it aligns with a lot of our values. And, this is a great connection to make. I love that we have a friend across the pond now.
It's great.
Careful what you wish for. We're coming.
Yeah, exactly. Be careful what you wish for. But yeah, I'm super happy for this opportunity and connection for real. So thank you for inviting me, and definitely word for part 2 or some other topic maybe. Maybe, I don't know, listeners could decide. We can talk. Yeah. Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eevi.
Thank you for your work and the impact you've had.
I know, seriously. Thank you for all that you do for the people who are struggling, because without the light that you have, who knows where these people would be.
Let's make sure we post our socials, encourage our fans to support and follow. Let's get the word out. Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Have the official endorsement from Guiding Tides podcast, Eevi. Thank you very much. And that'll conclude our episode today.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment to all the viewers, please.
Well, we're going to start showing up at your house. Seriously.
Mahesh will show up at your house. He was a probation officer, so he can do this.
I'm used to doing home visits. Yeah, without a doubt. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Good, thank you. Looking forward to it. Bye.